This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. ITA and the GCF to address the nuisance of loud motorcycles. The Island Traffic Authority and the Public Safety and the Traffic Enforcement Branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force say they will be embarking on a joint operation to address the nuisance of excessively loud motorcycles which have been causing disturbances in communities across the island. According to a release, complaints have been increasing as there has been an unusual level of noise emitted. The noise transmitted from the motorcycles is a result of the removal of the silencers from the muffler of the motorcycle. Director of the Island Traffic Authority, Kenute Hare, says the joint operation with the JCF seeks to send a strong message to motorcyclists who contribute to this issue. We are also appealing to companies who employ motorcyclists to transport their goods and their services to ensure that the silencers are replaced in the bikes because we are going to address that matter once and for all, he stated. The joint operation will see officials from the ITA and the JCF conducting spot checks on the roadways. Motorcycles will be assessed, and if they are found to have the silencer removed or the exhaust system modified, they will be removed from the roadways. Head of the Public Safety and the Traffic Enforcement Branch, Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP Gary McKenzie, says under the current road traffic regulations, motorcyclists can be charged for excessive noise. We will also depend on the ITA to do the necessary assessments also, and once the motorcycle is found to be defective, the plate will be removed and the motorcyclist must remedy the defects, he noted. 45 new road licenses approved for Port Antonio to Buff Bay route. The Transport Authority has approved 45 taxi licenses for the Port Antonio to Buff Bay route in Portland. The authority says this will add another 225 seats to the route. There had been complaints that there were not enough seats to serve the Portland community. Taxi operators who want to get licenses should contact any of the following associations to submit their applications: Port Antonio Eastern Taxi Association, Rural Taxi Association, and the Portland Taxi Association. Managing Director of the Transport Authority, Willard Hilton, says that the agency is committed to fulfilling its responsibilities to ensure adequate legal public transportation. He says the authority's operations team will be monitoring the situation and an assessment will be conducted over the next few months to determine the effectiveness of these additional routes. He is also encouraging PPV operators and commercial carriers to renew their road licenses before March 31 and avoid the late payment penalty. Outrage in Clarendon as a 12-year-old girl abducted and raped. There is outrage in the Clarendon community after a 12-year-old girl now preparing for her primary exit profile exams was abducted and allegedly raped yesterday. The child, who is a grade 6 student, and her brother were on their way home from school yesterday when a man offered them a ride. When they reached their destination, he told the brother to come out of the car and drove off with the girl, one relative told the news. The child was reportedly released late yesterday in a community near her home. She was taken to a hospital for treatment, the news understands. It's sad, but God is good. The last thing we wanted to hear was that they found her dead. I just hope she will be able to take her upcoming PEP exams, the relative said. The Clarendon police have confirmed the incident, but said full details were not immediately available. More details to follow. St. James Municipal Corporation to refuse the building plans that neglect a disabled community. The St. James Municipal Corporation has announced that as part of efforts to be inclusive of disabled citizens, it will refuse to grant building permits to developers who submit building plans that are not in line with the stipulations of the recently passed Disabilities Act of 2014. Montego Bay's Deputy Mayor Richard Vernon made the announcement while chairing Thursday's monthly meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation. He also noted that the move is in line with Jamaica's anticipated development plans to be established by 2030. As we move forward to safeguard the welfare of all people, we are ensuring that at the local level, no one is left behind. With that said, all draftsmen, architects, and developers must take note of the requirements for persons with disabilities, as we will be rejecting applications for the construction of public and commercial buildings that do not make provision for persons with disabilities, Vernon told the councillors present at the meeting. This local authority believes strongly in achieving sustainability by 2030. Consequently, we will be localizing these goals and principles throughout the municipality. It is against this background that this local planning authority is not prepared to approve any commercial or building plan that is designed in contravention to the requirements set out under Section 37 of the Disabilities Act of 2014, Vernon added. The Disabilities Act came into effect on February 14 this year, having been passed in 2014 after being held up in Parliament for over a decade prior. The Act's key points of focus include the right to education and training, the right to employment, the right to health care, and the establishment of the Disabilities Rights Tribunal to hear and settle complaints of discrimination. Section 37 of the Act states that in building any public or commercial premises, the owner or agent must ensure that the premises are readily accessible to and usable by disabled persons while being constructed in accordance with the National Building Code. For Andrew East, president of the Cornwall Combined Disabilities Association, the municipal corporation's announcement is a welcomed initiative, since many buildings in Montego Bay do not have the proper facilities in place for the disabled community. It is the right approach because the building code has been there for so long, and if a person refuses to comply, then they should stop the building or revoke the permit to build. Not wanting to do that is disenfranchising us and blocking us from using their establishment, said East, who is a wheelchair user. Even on St. James's Street, I normally have to pull up on the sidewalk and ask for help, and these are prominent business places that persons need to use. Not having the appropriate setting to give us access to the buildings is limiting and handicapping us, East added. In the meantime, Vernon said that efforts will be made to sensitize builders in St. James on the necessity of facilitating the disabled community when drafting their construction plans. As we seek to create a safer, more inclusive environment, we will be hosting workshops for architects and draftsmen to get them more knowledgeable with the required building codes. Together, we can create a more sustainable St. James, Vernon said. JAS calls for establishment of local animal feed industry. A suggestion has come from the Jamaica Agricultural Society for the establishment of a local animal feed industry. It follows news yesterday that meat prices are set to increase, with one of the island's major suppliers of animal feed, Nutramix, announcing that it will cost more to purchase its products starting Monday. Nutramix said because of the conflict in Eastern Europe and the ongoing increase in agricultural commodities, it is seeing historically high raw material costs, which directly affect the price of animal feed. JAS President Lenworth Fulton says, amid the forecast for supply chain challenges, Jamaica should seriously look at producing substitutes to imported animal feed. He also believes this could be a public-private sector partnership. Meanwhile, in Europe, officials are preparing for increased prices for livestock feed that could mean more expensive meat and dairy if farmers are forced to pass along cost to customers. Ukraine supplies the EU with just under 60% of its corn and nearly half of the key components in the grains needed to feed livestock. Spain is feeling the pinch in grains for the breeding industry. The imported grains go to feed 55 million pigs. It's reported that during the first 2 days of Russia's assault on Ukraine, the price of grain for animal feed jumped 10% on the open market in Spain. There are worries Russia, another agricultural powerhouse, could have its grain exports upended by Western sanctions. Conman to serve jail time after fleecing millions. A man who posed as an employee of Jamaica Customs Agency and the Kingston Wharves and conned several car buyers out of more than $15 million was yesterday remanded for sentencing in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on April 25. The confessed trickster Renford Soares collected various sums of money from unsuspecting persons after passing himself off as a customs officer. On Friday, he pleaded guilty to obtaining money by false pretense when he appeared in the court before Parish Judge Chester Crooks. The court heard that he collected $1.1 million from the complainant to purchase 2 motor cars but never delivered the vehicles or returned the complainant's money. Following his plea, the judge ordered a social inquiry report but was informed by Soares' attorney at law, Anthony Morgan, that his client had similar matters for which he had pleaded guilty, and a social inquiry report has already been ordered. Consequently, the judge only requested Soares' criminal records. Earlier in March, Soares pleaded guilty to larceny by trick. In that case, the complainant paid over $2.7 million to Soares, who had informed him that he could assist in the importation of a Toyota Hiace motor car. In February, Soares also pleaded guilty to 2 counts of obtaining money by false pretense and 15 counts of fraudulent conversion, as well as absconding bail. In that case, the court heard that between 2017 and 2021, multiple complainants handed monies to Soares to purchase motor vehicles. Soares, in February 2019, collected $915,000 from a complainant and $700,000 from another complainant in August of the same year. Morgan, in the meantime, has informed the court that his client is in no position to make restitution to the complainant and is ready for his sentence. But Senior Parish Judge Lorian Cole Montague, before whom Morgan had made those pronouncements, said she would be making an order for restitution. The alternative, if you don't pay that money, you will serve time, and I am going to order that the time runs consecutively, Cole Montague warned. But Morgan maintained that it would be difficult for repayment to be made given the sum, while insisting that his client was ready for his sentence. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.